were
Everybody killed everybody.
Catholics,
It was
Imagine
a horrible
that.
time.
and they were
Is it
they were against communism,
Okay.
but they kind of
because Donna would like listening
sympathize
to
with
it.
the
You know, just listening
occupation.
to stories.
Right,
see?
right.
And they would
It's very
come,
complex, Rita. It is.
It's very.
They
It
would
took
come-
me years. I mean,
and every corner they would come with trucks and they would put these barbed wires, you know, a soldier with machine gun, and they would enter every house and every home, and they would take all men away. When they come to our place, I was still in the back bunts, the guy with guns open blanket, and I was there scared, and he put it back again, and they took my father away, but my father came back, you know, at the end of the day, and they would have this, somebody would be covered with black shirt that you wouldn't see, and he would say this way, this way, this way, this way.
And John, how do you think it affected you as for the rest of your life? Do you have a paranoia or a suspicion or skepticism
How old
against
were you? How old were you?
against government or against
No.
regime?
No, you know, it's almost very distant. So
But it
it's
must
never-
affect you.
so
It must
far away.
affect you, John.
But I understand Afghanis, you know, I understand Iraqis.
Other occupied people.
Yeah, they are occupied people.
no matter why
when
they're
machine gun-
occupied,
You see,
you resent them. You know.
America said we are fighting. What? There is no armies. They're fighting people there. You see,
Well, they're fighting
there
the
is no
Taliban.
army. You know, I remember when I was a kid, I was asked questions.
I heard the song.
What are they doing here? They don't even speak Slovenian. You see, what are they doing here? I don't understand them. What they are doing here? This Afghan asked the same question of Afghanistani kids. What are these strange guy doing there? You know?
Yeah.
Do you
It's
understand?
interesting. Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting Mussolini's relationship to Hitler and to
Yeah.
the
How
cause.
old were you? You would have been.
You
When
were
war
very
was
young.
over, I was
5, 6,
11 and
yeah.
a half.
But when Italy was occupying Ljubljana.
Yeah, whatever.
6?
I was 8 or something.
Yeah.
See,
So you put this all
your
together
experience
later.
your experience was different because you were the Nazis were not very aggressive or cruel in the south of France.
No, they were not.
No?
No.
They were not.
Why?
Not in the south of France.
But they were
Because
in France.
they had
I
been
just
invaded
read-
already from the north, you know. They knew that the war was lost.
Yeah, but
need something else.
when they conquered Paris,
They were
and
not
so,
cruel
I
around
just
here, no.
read a book.
No, when they started in France, they divided France in two.
Also, the
There
South
was
maybe
free
was
France and then occupied France.
And
Oh, you were
the
in
south
Free
was in
France.
free France.
You were free France.
I was in free France.
But there were still Nazis.
Yeah, but still,
there
they
were still
came down.
soldiers
Yeah.
here. But there were still Nazi soldiers out here.
They were not Nazi, they were German soldiers. No, the Nazi
not
didn't
every
come down
soldier
here.
was a Nazi. You know,
There
a
was not
member
some.
of the party.
There were no
They
atrocities.
were just drafted soldiers.
There were no atrocities here.
They were just occupying everything.
They had to be because
they were amazing.
The biggest atrocity.
Man, I have a big admiration for the German. Oh my God!
But there were terrible
were-
things happen in Paris. They just read a book about it, and there is a place in Paris
Yeah.
when the Nazis asked the French police, whatever,
To gather the Jews.
to gather all the Jews out of the Paris quarters, and they put them in this big stadium, and from there they transported them all to Auschwitz
To
or somewhere
Dachau,
else. And now, after I don't know, over 50 years, there are lawsuits against.
What was the name of the book?
The French. I can't.
Because I read it.
Yeah, they sued the railroad because they knew who they were transporting, and the French police who hoarded up all the Jews.
It was a really
for
good
the
book.
Nazis. What was the place? It was just absolutely horrible. And this place in Paris has been razed, and it's not there.
It was
There's
an old.
only
It was
a
an
plaque.
old stadium or coliseum,
What was the title?
and they gathered all the Jews, 3,000 Jews, and
Did
put
you
them in
read
this-
it?
I read the book.
Yeah.
Recommended
I
from
read
Oh
my
it.
yes,
Sure.
you told me.
and it's a historical fiction.
It's a fiction,
But they left
it's
they left them in
historically
there
right.
for 3 days, and so many of them died. Pregnant women died, kids died because they were exposed to the sun. They weren't given food or water.
They
or
probably
bathroom.
didn't. Their intention probably wasn't to just slaughter them. It was to
They were
starve
just-
them out.
No,
Attrition.
But what happened? The problem was, the debate is
Well-
that the Nazi Germans wanted the Jews that were in Paris. So
You want
the German soldiers were there, but the Parisian army / police
cooperated
cooperated
totally with them.
with them, and helped gather them up to send them there.
Everybody.
And so, now what the book was saying and what they're looking at is how much were the French or Parisian soldiers accomplices in this?
It is the first and only time that Parisians have ever cooperated with anything.